Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of your replays, this time with two vehicles that are definition of, oh, I thought it was good before I bought it, why am I playing it badly now? Well, first of all, if you want to send me your own replays, put them down on my Discord server, link to that in the description, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. And the vehicle that we want to talk about here first, played by Toast, is the T95E6, a vehicle that is confusing because it's neither a heavy tank nor a medium tank. It's too slow to be a medium tank, and it doesn't have any armor to be a heavy tank. I mean, it has significantly less armor than the E50M. It has the survivability of roughly an investment banker without their flower-like powder. So, essentially, you have a vehicle here that pretty much relies on you not screwing up, which, given that this is World of Tanks Blitz, that's kind of impossible. But all you need to do is essentially wiggle this thing back and forth to obscure the cupola, and then you will do a lot better. Because here's the thing, if you keep your vehicle moving, it's a lot harder for the enemy to constantly aim at you. I mean, they do have, if they are playing on mobile, they do have the advanced auto-aim, but it is still not precise enough to, for example, aim for cupolas. So if you keep your vehicle moving back and forth, you can have a very good chance of throwing them off, and that's all you need to do. Just, I have no idea what the T57 Heavy is doing, but he's not doing it very well. This seems very much like NA gameplay to me. So, another, obviously, very important thing to consider is that if you have a one-shot, and that one-shot's out in the open, uncontested, you take him out, easy, free, win, right there. Got a gun. Because if you're, especially if you're in a disadvantaged situation, like it was a 5v7 here, you want to take out enemy guns, because obviously the less guns there are, the less damage they can deal. And obviously the Batchat does a very great job here at distracting all three of the enemies, so that Toast here can just swoop down and take very free shots. And this is also one of the very basics of getting good at World of Tanks Blitz. It's identifying who's helping you and who's not. In that case, the Batchat was a very good help, and that's very much free damage. Almost 1,000 damage, just like that, from the Batchat taking that distraction. And now the 57 Heavy, obviously he's got no auto-loader. You don't really want to take 1,200 damage to the face, so brawling that guy ideally, not great. But given that he was low, and you can take that chance, it was just about worth it. Now, Vickers is also neglecting one of the crucial things of this game, and that's never play without the ability to get into cover. If you're out in the open, you can get shot, you're screwed. So you always want to ideally play in or around the place that allows you to get into cover quickly. Because if you're out in the open and you spot three tanks, you're dead. So being able to take cover quickly is also something that is very important. Now, obviously, this game is somewhat easy because the enemy team is not really paying any attention at all to what's happening. Which is, by the way, what you need to get a really good game. You will never achieve a game that is above 6,000-7,000 damage without an enemy team that is so grossly incompetent they might as well be the German football coach. So, anyway, E50, obviously a one-shot. He's not going to pay much attention. Is he going to peek? Of course he is. Now the only tank that is left alive is a grill, which is going to get nerfed again. And the Batchat's very happy, which is very nice. Now, just if you're not having fun, just a reminder, if you're not having fun playing the game, you don't play the game. Because the game's made for fun. If you're not having fun, you just stop. Basically. The grill has been sitting up there his entire game, and it is still full HP, and somehow managed to bottle that shot. Which is quite impressive. So, congratulations on screwing up that badly. And now the grill is doing a very bad thing here, because he's not using his tank to his advantage. He's just charging at a heavy tank in a tankstra that has bad traverse speed and not a fully traversable vehicle. He's charging a heavy tank that is pretty mobile. So while this vehicle doesn't really have any noticeable armor, it does have pretty decent mobility, and if you're a decent player, you can pull that off. And I have no idea what the grill were doing. He could have just stayed up there and played a way safer game. But if you're ever in a situation like that, don't just charge. Play it safe. You don't have to charge. Also, you don't have to have that. And ideally, you don't fail platoon and go to the bad side of Rockfield. But remember, kids. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. If your opponent makes more, you still win. Because that's how life works. So all you need to do is essentially wait for them to fuck up. The most important and simplest tip of all of World of Tanks Blitz. Just wait for them to fuck up. Because it's going to happen. This is World of Tanks Blitz after all. The average skill level is, well, bad. Yep, 2.5k DPM, 480 alpha damage, 0.36 accuracy. Ew. And mobility, that's not that great. It's fine, but it's not great. The armor of this vehicle is very front-centric, which means it does have armor at the front, but not anywhere else, which means the second you slightly turn this vehicle or anyone attacks you from the side, just in the slightest, you'll be penned very, very easily. So you're way better off with something like a Super Conqueror in this situation, because not only does it have better armor, it also has higher DPM. So the thing is here, if your team is very good, then obviously you want to capitalize that. Like you're right here. Again, the last game, the Bat Chat was taking the focus. This time, the Ice 4 is taking the focus. And if you have a situation like that where one of your teammates puts themselves in a disadvantaged situation, right? The worst thing you can do is rush out there with them and be like, hey, shoot at me instead. No. It's to accept that gift of self-sacrifice from your teammate and use that time and that distraction to your advantage. So if the enemy is distracted by one of your team, make sure that it stays that way. Make sure that it very much stays that way. Right? Don't draw too much attention yourself, right? You want, ideally, to be not perceived as a threat, because then you're the biggest threat. If the enemy doesn't know that you're dangerous, you'll be very dangerous. Just like here. Now, the Jagdtiger is obviously not really doing much besides sitting in a corner. Like, if I would be the Jagdtiger here, I would get out of that position. Because it's currently sort of a 3 versus 1. The IS-8 and the Grill, they can't really provide much backup in this situation. So the best course of action for that Jagdtiger would just get to reverse all the way and drop down that cliff to get himself into safety. That would be the reasonable thing to do here. But that's obviously not what's going to happen. So, well, there's 2 very easy lessons you can pick up in every game that you play. Don't play like that Jagdtiger and play against people like that Jagdtiger, because he's currently getting wrecked, he's getting destroyed. So, look, what is he doing wrong? What can you do better? For example, if you would be playing that Jagdtiger, you would probably reverse and drive down the cliff, right? So you can now change the way you play based on the mistakes that your team and the enemies are making, right? Just observe what other players around you are doing and see if you can spot what they're doing wrong. Because then you can use that to your own advantage, because you can learn what not to do, and you also learn, ideally, how to punish them for what they're doing. In this situation, that's very easy because they're just sitting in a corner, so that's very nice. But another thing is, if you're starting playing this game, you're gonna suck, probably. Everyone starts with sucking, but if you don't, well, continue towards more advanced methods later on, it does get very boring pretty quickly. So, ideally, look what you're doing, observe what's going on, read the room, because that way you'll be having much more fun. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah. Again, you know that the grill's back there. So peeking the IS-8 there is quite the risk. And again, peeking the grill again is also quite a risk, because obviously this vehicle does have cupolas on top of the vehicle. So those are pretty risky moves that I wouldn't really recommend doing, especially in a situation like this, where your platoon mate's dead, and you have a confirmed no-show in the VKB, who is about, well, as competent as a wet rag. But in this case, it works out just fine. The IS-8 in the grill, well, not really looking that good. The grill somehow now tries to reverse out. Like, he knows that the MX is there, but he just doesn't have object permanence yet. That's another very important tip. Have object permanence. Remember where the enemies are, because they're not gonna, like, disappear. But I will. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.